Good morning, you magnificent melonheads. Today is Thursday, March 2nd, 2023, and the market is just giving me the heebie-jeebies this morning, folks. I'm not going to lie. We've got interest rates are up. We have got big things happening over at Silvergate Bank. I don't really know what specifically is happening, but we've speculated for a while that the crypto collapse of 2022 could spill over into traditional finance and that Silvergate Bank could be the mechanism of that spillover. Well, it looks like that could be happening. There was a note released from the bank yesterday that they would be delaying their annual report, and all kinds of nastiness was hidden in that note. And right now, Silvergate stock is getting absolutely crushed. And as it happens, I was up until about 2:30 in the morning last night editing a video about bank bail-ins. I did not realize at the time that Silvergate could be on the brink of collapse, but what appropriate timing. So I got to warn you guys, I am running on, about 3 hours of sleep this morning. I'm not quite done with that video yet, but it will be coming out around lunchtime Eastern time today. So look for that one. And again, the universe is funny like that. I'm wrapping up a video all about bank bail-ins right as the story about a bank possibly going under hits the tape this morning. So with that, let's shrink my big melon of a head and let's look at what's going on in markets right now. The S&P has opened down 0.5%, or 21 points, currently at 39.29, below that all-important level of 39.50 that I've heard Sven Heinrich over at the Northman Trader talking a lot about lately, and Adam Taggart over at Wealthion, he's been talking a lot about that 39.50 level. Well, we are firmly below that now, so we'll see what happens from that. And oh, look at this. We are now a couple days below the 50-day moving average on the S&P 500, and it looks like heading lower still today. The Dow is the exception today. Dow's actually looking pretty good right now, up 77 points, or 0.25% at 32,739. But the NASDAQ, not so good over at the NASDAQ. Currently down 89 points, or about 0.8% at 11,287. The NASDAQ was down a lot less, or a lot more than that pre-market. So it's clawing back a little bit right now, but something tells me Silvergate is going to be a drag on the NASDAQ. It's going to take all of tech lower. And this morning, what do we got right now? We got in the Dixie, 105 up 54 basis points. We had a big jump in the DXY this morning after we got some data, some labor data came out showing that the labor costs were rising in the U.S. We'll talk about that a little bit, but we saw a nice big bump in the Dixie when that came out. But it's giving back some of that now. But Dixie going higher, generally bearish for stocks. It's the denominator in the price equation. So Dixie higher, stocks lower. And looking over at the bond market today, we have got the short end of the curve is a little bit lower, but check out what's going on out on the long end of the curve. The 10-year Treasury yield up 8 basis points this morning, or 2%, currently at 4.077%. And folks, I drew this bull flag yesterday on my live stream, or was it 2 days ago? I mistakenly referred to it as a bear flag. That when I misspoke. I tried to correct it in the comments, but I meant to say bull flag. And well, wasn't that just, we'll say apropos or appropriate for the situation, because we are now firmly broken out of that bull flag. And this morning, yields are moving sharply higher. And this is really what's got me a little freaked out about the market this morning. When you see yields making big moves like this, especially in a breakout from a consolidation pattern, something is off. We've got talk of trouble in banks. We've got yields moving higher, the dollar moving higher. Something feels wrong in markets this morning, folks. Can't quite put my finger on it. Maybe it's Silvergate, maybe not. We'll get to that one in just a minute. Looking over at the commodities board right now, well, we've got higher yields and higher dollar. That is not good for precious metals, and we're seeing that today. Gold is faring pretty well, all things considered, down only $3.50 right now at 1841, or 0.2%. Silver not doing quite so well, down 26 cents, or 1.27%, below $21 at $20.83. Elsewhere in the commodity space today, we've got crude oil. WTI is up about 15 cents at 77.84. Natty gas is about flat for the day at 280, up 0.18%. Let's look at the natural gas chart real quick. Looking pretty good right now. Still trading firmly above that 9-day moving average. RSI still about mid-band, so natural gas still has room to run, although it's had a pretty nice rip these last couple of days Wouldn't be surprised to see a pullback, but I think the trend is going to stay upward for the time being. Also saw this article dated Monday. U.S. nat gas jumped 7% to 1-month high on rising demand and output decline. Again, this is a few days old. U.S. natural gas futures jumped 7% to a 1-month high on Monday on forecast for more demand this week than previously expected and a drop in output so far this month, in addition to forecasts for colder weather next week that should keep heating demand higher than normal for this time of year. Analysts also noted that gas prices have soared 31% over the last 4 days, due in part to a jump in U.S. liquefied natural gas exports. Helping boost the exports over the past month has been the partial restart of the Freeport LNG export plant, which, by the way, this morning, I'm told Freeport LNG is up to 1.2 billion cubic feet of natural gas delivery at that plant. So that demand is coming back. We've got some colder than usual conditions right now is driving heating demand. We've got that story from last week where Chesapeake was shutting down a couple of their gas wells. And I mentioned how that was feeling bottomy last week. Well, this article is saying all of those same things. But let's get on to the big story today. And this, folks, this could be a very, very big story. Silvergate stock plunges as bank says it may face DOJ, congressional, and bank regulator inquiries. Shares fell over 10% in after-hours trading. And you can throw out that 10% number because this morning, shares in Silvergate Bank are down, let's refresh this one, 46% this morning. Good God. When the shares of a bank with several $billion in assets is down 46% in a day, you better pay attention, folks. This is going to be a big story. Let's read a little bit in here. Silvergate Bank announced it would delay filing its annual report on Wednesday. That's never a good thing. Sending its stock price plunging over 10, cross that out, 46% in after-hours trading. The crypto-friendly bank has said it would have to delay the filing of its annual 10K report for the 2022 fiscal year and would need more than an additional 2 weeks to complete it. The company is currently analyzing certain regulatory and other inquiries and investigations, that are pending with respect to the company. Silvergate's accounting firm is also requesting further information, as are its independent auditors. Oh, okay, so we've got regulators are asking questions, Congress is asking questions, auditors, accountants are asking questions. I'm sure everything's fine over at Silvergate. In the forward-looking statement section, Silvergate also hinted at regulatory scrutiny. Now, all this is tied, it looks like, to Binance, folks, and I've been warning about Binance ever since the FTX collapse. Reuters 2 weeks ago reported that Binance Global had access to Binance US's Silvergate bank account and that they moved millions to a trading firm owned by Binance Global CEO Changpeng Zhou without Binance US CEO's knowledge. And a Binance spokesperson didn't deny the story when contacted by CoinDesk. So Binance Global is not allowed to do business in the U.S. because they're not KYC compliant. But it turns out Binance U.S. was really just a front for CZ and Binance Global in that they were commingling funds. And Silvergate Bank, in particular the Silvergate Exchange Network, was the mechanism for doing that. And so now Silvergate has regulators and investigators all over them. The Silvergate filing continued. There are or will be important factors that could cause the company's actual results to differ materially from those indicated in these forward-looking statements, included but not limited to restrictions on the company's business resulting from various litigation, including private litigation, regulatory and other inquiries and investigations against or with respect to the company, yikes, investigations from our banking regulators, congressional inquiries, investigations from the U.S. Department of Justice. Well, isn't that a big word salad of suck for Silvergate Bank? And this last sentence sums it up kind of nicely. The impact of these events could affect the ability for the company to continue as a going concern, Silvergate added. So they're basically saying, hey, guys, our bank, we may not be here this time next year. Bye-bye. They've got regulators circulating. They've got Congress circulating, their own accountants, their own auditors. And folks, this, I cannot stress how important this is because this graphic, you may have seen this one before. This is the Silvergate Exchange Network, which is their big innovation. Oh, Kathy Wood, ARK Invest, they just love Silvergate and the innovation over there. Well, Silvergate touches all of these other crypto firms. Genesis, Gemini, well, they've been in the press lately. They're part of Digital Currency Group, or Gemini was owed money by Digital Currency Group. It's hard to get these names straight. Oh, there's Binance US. No trouble over there. Coinbase, that's a big one. Might want to put a pin in Coinbase. Circle, that's the owner of USDC, the largest stablecoin besides Tether. I'm not sure which one is bigger at the moment. And then we've also got Eris and Bitstamp to round out the network. Folks, if Silvergate goes down, it's taken half of cryptocurrency with it. So keep an eye on this story. This one, it's going to be a doozy. I don't know what's going to come out of it, but right now, Silvergate stock down 47.5%. What's the worst thing that could happen? Don't answer that. All right, guys. I want to send a shout out to, where are you in here? Here he is, Mr. Martin. Martin Mathush. Martin, am I saying that right, Martin? Thank you very much, Martin, who sent me a super sticker with a great big number 1. Sir, I appreciate that very much. Thank you for the support of the channel and for the super sticker. Thank you very much to all my Patreon supporters. You guys are awesome. I had a good time talking to you last night on the Patreon call. I will be posting that video with the Patreon call on the Patreon timeline very shortly. Just as soon as I finish editing this video that I was up all night editing, we're going to be posting that one around noon. And again, I did not realize what was happening with Silvergate when I set out to make a bank bail-in video. But man, am I glad I started working on that video when I did, because the timing is appropriate. And thank you, Steve Woitis, who says, looks like regulators were embarrassed by FTX, you think, and are all over Silvergate. Not only were the regulators embarrassed by FTX, the regulators were in on it with FTX. Keep in mind all those closed-door meetings Sam Bankman-Fried was having with members of Congress, with Gary Gensler, with the CFTC, the SEC, all of them. They were not just unaware of what FTX was doing. I would put good money that they were in on it, that they knew about it, and that Sam Bankman-Fried was trying to build a regulatory monopoly for himself when his whole scheme got torpedoed. So now the regulators, maybe they're trying to save face, but no, I don't think they were just ignorant of what was going on. I think worst case scenario, they were actually complicit in it. Thank you very much, Steve Woitis. Sir, you are a gentleman and a scholar for the support of the channel. Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. I love you guys. Guys, I want you to have an awesome day. Keep an eye out for that bail-in video. It's coming out around lunchtime today. And until next time, live small and dream big.